If you take months off, you take, like this was the thing that I was thinking about with Jon Jones. Jon Jones said he needed 6 months and all. So they were trying to make a deal, and then he decided to retire. But it's 6 months because he's not training, like at all. Like he just doesn't train. Like in between fights, just doesn't train.
And they're going to announce it on International Fight Week. But for some reason, they announced it last night. I don't know what that reason is. It took me by surprise, at least. But they announced it last night. But ultimately, I was chasing the belt. I was chasing being the #1 heavyweight fighter in the world, which I am. And I can say that I am now, especially with Jon not around and he's retired and that's behind us. But ultimately, the thing that I wanted really was the belt. The fact that Jon's left the sport. Obviously, it would have been better for me career-wise to have that name. Financially, it would have been great as well. But the thing that I was ultimately chasing was the heavyweight title. He's entitled to do whatever he wants, to be honest. I'm not... he's done way more in the sport than I have, so he should do whatever he feels is right. If it was so public, for me personally, I don't know if my ego could take it, having not done it. But that's honestly, that's his prerogative. I don't hold any ill will against him for it. For nearly a year now because of this. And I've been healthy the whole time. I've been in the gym the whole time. I've been doing exactly what I'm supposed to do as a high-level operating athlete at the elite level.
Joe Rogan and Tom Aspinall have recently shared their thoughts on the situation that's left fans feeling frustrated and puzzled, sparking widespread discussion throughout the MMA community. In a compelling conversation, they unpack the turmoil around Jon Jones's retirement, the UFC's lack of response, and the ongoing stagnation in the heavyweight division that's been dragging on for far too long.
And Jon had been telling us for quite some time, I already told the UFC my plans. I'm not sure why they haven't done anything with it. But it seems as though as he continued to try and hint at what his plans were, the UFC felt like their hand was forced and they had to put it out there. Because at this point, what are we waiting for? Now, Tom Aspinall is coming to Las Vegas this week. He will be there back end of the week. He was told that a decision would be made by International Fight Week. Why I think this is ludicrous that it all went down like this was, we had waited so long for the resolution to this issue. Could they have not done something in Las Vegas in front of all the fans before the press conference, after the press conference, before the weigh-ins, after the weigh-ins? In the middle of the card on Saturday, before the fight, after the fight, presenting Tom with the belt, saying, you are the man, this is the glamour division, you are the baddest man on the planet, you're the heavyweight champion, you've done it all right, everything we've asked of you. Why not do it like that? He's literally going to be there in a couple of days. Where every media member, every fan is going to be there. You do it like this? In a throwaway, midway through a press conference in Baku, Azerbaijan, in the middle of the night over there, when no one's paying attention, you do it like that? What is that? Defend the belt against the top guy? You can't be the guy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that pissed a lot of people off.
See,
agree or disagree?
Yeah, so I agree with you. And here's the thing, like my whole entire career, I've always defended Jon. I've always defended Jon Jones. And I'm going to say this, like, I truly believe he's one of the best to ever do it. I truly believe that. I've worked out in the same room as him. I've seen his eyes, I see how he moves. But then when I sit there and I've always wanted to do this on my channel, is basically dissect a person's career. Go to the very first time they got into the UFC and just go through the whole entire thing. And when you go through it, it's like, Mike Rwanzer, I love him to death. He is so honest and unbiased. And he was like, dude, like, how are you going to say Jon Jones is one of the greatest of all time when he's fucking failed a drug test?
Multiple times.
Like, listen to yourself right now. Like, you're lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Like, he's like, you actually look stupid. Like, you and GSP and Habib have never failed a drug test.
Yes.
Not fucking once.
Yes.
And you're sticking up for somebody who's clearly failed a drug test, right? Now, if you go, I know Shaquille O'Neal said, oh, he's one of the greatest. Shaq, let me sit you down and me run you through the whole entire career of all that stuff, right? And, you know, when you sit there and you peel back the onion and you start looking at that, it's like, you know, yeah, I always...
You didn't believe in that. That's not what you were about.
Yeah, I didn't believe it.
So how can someone who did that multiple times.
It's like approval. It's almost like if you're putting him in the same category as
then
you,
you're
it's
okay
like
with it.
you're approving and
Yes.
you're condoning what he did.
Retired Jon Jones. Just as he predicted, Tom Aspinall, over a year ago, I think, said, I will retire this man without even having to fight him. He's never going to fight me. And despite all the umming and ahhing and all the fucking pretending that he was going to actually ever get in the cage with Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones has done what we always knew he was going to do. He's tucked tail and ran. Imagine calling yourself a goat and yet behaving like such a duck. I mean, this is like back in the playground. Jon Jones has got a bike. Tom Aspinall's come over and goes, give us your bike now. What you have to do then is fight. You have to defend what your shit is and say, no, you're not going to take this. And do you know what Jon Jones did? You have it. I don't want to fight. You can have it. This is unbelievable. The greatest of all time. What a load of shit. I'm sorry. Never going to call that him the GOAT ever again. Because being the greatest of all time is not just about winning. And that's what Jon Jones doesn't understand. It's about how you conduct yourself throughout the whole of your career. Are you willing to fight the biggest challenges, the biggest tests, go in there and test yourself against everyone? And Jon Jones proved, without a shadow of a doubt, his biggest test, stepped up and he bottled it well and truly. Remember this clip from like over a year ago when Jon actually met Tom in person?
Respect, man.
All the best.
Respect.
All the best.
Do a quick picture.
Sure.
Yeah?
Let's get it.
A face off. No, okay.
He wouldn't even face off with Tom Aspinall, let alone get in a cage with him. And after all of the fannying around and waiting for Jon Jones to man up and strap his balls on and defend his heavyweight title, because you've never really earned it. You beat a guy who wasn't even the champion. You beat Stipe. Oh my God, what a farce that fight was. That will go down as the most pointless, pathetic fight I can imagine in a world title fight.
I honestly can see Jon's point of view. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. It's just about the title for me.
Yep.
I just want the title, that's it.
Yep.
Does nothing else really matters. So, yeah, I get it completely. Get his point of view. Get what everybody's saying. Completely understand. I just want to prove I'm the best. That's all.
Tom opens up about the emotional strain he's faced over the past year. Since winning the interim title, he's felt stuck in a state of uncertainty, waiting, hoping, and training for a fight that never seemed guaranteed. He explains that the UFC kept sending mixed signals, telling him to stay ready for Jon Jones, while refusing to make anything official. Now, with Jon's sudden retirement announcement, Tom admits it feels like all that time was wasted. Joe Rogan, visibly frustrated, doesn't hold back either. He voices what many fans have been wondering. Why did the UFC wait so long? If Jon had been planning to retire since last year, why keep the belt on him and stall the entire division? Why not be upfront with the fighters, the fans, and the sport itself?
And it seemed like it was a lot of positive. It seemed like that was a moment in this whole saga where, like, I think we're going to get this fight. You kind of said that the talks went well, but now that, it's all resolved, what happened in London? What were your talks with Hunter Campbell then?
I mean, I believe that's the UFC's business, really. As far as, I just did everything that was asked of me, to be honest. What their business is with the other side is their business, and I don't really know what happened. I know that the UFC were pretty sure that it was going to happen, and that's all I know, really. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I know that there's people that come out and said he's been offered the money that he asked for, and he got the time he asked for and everything. I just got told that I was fighting, and I went along with it, and that's all I know.
Yeah. In your mind, were you expecting a contract? Like, were you to that point where you were thinking that a contract could come through at any moment?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I was expecting that, yeah, but didn't happen.
And I don't know if you saw this or not, but Dana White told a very prominent MMA journalist, Oscar Willis from the Mac Life, that the fight
very prominent
was done. He said it was finished. The fight was done. When did you start to feel like, maybe the fight's not done?
I don't know, because he was putting a lot of stuff out on social media, but people were always like, he's just playing mind games. He's gonna sign the contract, but then he just didn't. So when stuff started to come out about him speaking that he's not going to fight again and he's going to retire and stuff, I didn't know what to believe, to be honest. And I thought, I don't know if this is actually going to happen, and then it didn't. So, mate, honestly, I've said it a million times. I was never actually chasing Jon. I was chasing the heavyweight title all along.
the face, I mean, don't get me wrong, Jon Jones would have been an amazing scalp to have on record, but the opponent, the guy standing across from me, never mattered. It never has mattered. It never will matter. Like, what was important to me was being the best in the world. So the other stuff was pretty irrelevant. As I said, it would have been a great scalp. That would have, you know, propelled me more than any other fight. But a fight's a fight. I'm not too bothered.
Which is Tom Aspinall fights Pavlich and takes that fight on 2 weeks' notice and becomes the interim champion and fucks his back up and can't train at all. But Aspinall, like, that guy's, he's something special. He really is something special. He's a very unusual example because he's a heavyweight and he's a big guy, a really big guy, but he moves so fast. And his coach, Colin, I forget, it's from Cabal, this gym that he trains at in the UK. Colin Huron, he trained Darren Till. Colin, from the early days of the career, was like emphasizing his speed, and so his speed has always been like extraordinary compared to other heavyweights. Like, he just fucking moves in. It's all like fast, explosive movements. So he's got natural speed, but then he's also got a lot of training to execute quickly. So when he moves in, he closed the gap. You can see, like, fuck, he's fast for a big guy.
Right.
Tom dropped a statement that shook the MMA community. He said, "The UFC lied. Not outright, but through silence and omission. They knew Jon Jones was leaning toward retirement, but still told Tom to stay quiet and wait. When the retirement announcement finally came, Tom wasn't even informed directly by the UFC. It was through media leaks and interviews. For a fighter who earned his shot and was promised the biggest fight of his career, that kind of silence was deeply disappointing." Joe Rogan agreed. He acknowledged the UFC's loyalty to legends like Jon, but stressed it can't come at the cost of the whole division. The sport has to move forward. Joe said you can't keep holding back hungry fighters just because one person is unsure about his future. Despite the frustration, Tom remained composed. He's done dwelling on what might have been and is now focused on what lies ahead. The Jon Jones era is officially over, and a new chapter is beginning. Tom is more prepared than ever to defend his belt and prove he's the true heavyweight champion. Names like Cyril Gane, Sergey Pavlovich, and even a future fight with Francis Ngannou have been mentioned. One thing is clear: Tom wants to stay active, deliver big fights, stacked cards, and bring real momentum back to the division. For him, this isn't about chasing shadows anymore. It's about building a legacy.
We knew, DC, that this had been part of the conversation. We were hoping it wasn't going to be the conversation just yet. I mean, I selfishly was hoping for a fight between he and Tom Aspinall. I don't think I'm the only one. In fact, I know the whole world was kind of hoping for that. In the end, he is not fighting Tom Aspinall. He is retiring from the sport of mixed martial arts, announced by Dana White on Saturday. Your initial thoughts to the announcement that Jon Jones is officially retired from mixed martial arts?
So my first thought, it was like, he actually did it. He actually did it. You know, like, I didn't think that he would walk away. I didn't know that, you know, he would allow for or would be able to handle what comes with making this decision right now and the optics of it, Brett. Do you understand what I'm saying? What it looks like to people. I didn't know that his ego would be able to handle walking away. I figured he would fight based on that. But he didn't. And it's crazy. I said something the other day, Brett, and I don't want this to be like me crapping on Jon Jones, but I said something on my YouTube channel. I said, if Jon Jones doesn't fight this guy, he quit, right? He quit. I said that. And he did. He's out of the game. It's crazy.
It's interesting to me that, like, you say that maybe his ego wouldn't have allowed it because of the optics. Dude, he created the optics by just not retiring at Madison Square Garden. Had he retired, it would have been like, he would have gotten a little bit of flack for it, but like not much, I don't think, because it would have been like, hey man, this guy's just done fighting. You know, he's done a lot. He's in his late 30s now. He's just finished. But by dragging it out, he himself was the one that created the optics. Like, when you kind of try and look at this and try to get behind of what happened behind the scenes, what happened here? What was Jon hoping for? Was this just something that he fumbled right from the beginning? What was the OC hoping for? Like where did this go wrong? Because it just seems like if we were going to end up here with Jon Jones being retired, why didn't we do it in November of last year?
Yes, that's a great question. So, Brett, I think his intent was to fight. When did Tom Aspinall knock out Curtis Blade? Was that in the beginning of this year? It was in like February, right? Or January? I'm not exactly sure. Google it. But
I think it was last year, actually.
You keep talking, I'll find out. Was it before? If it was before he fought in November against Stipe, I believe that when he beat Stipe, his intention was to continue. I just don't know that when he started to train, it's like, I don't really want to do this no more. And I know what it's going to take to beat this guy. You got it for me?
July of last year. So it's been a long time.
So he was before Stipe. So Aspinall's just kind of waiting. Remember that appearance he had? Aspinall went there. This guy was so excited to fight him, and I don't know that he could find that love to get up to do what he knows he would need to do in order to get past this guy. There's a
massive news for the UFC. It's massive news going forward. And I don't hate to say it, actually. I actually love to say it. Everybody on MMA YouTube was right. Everybody that said that Jon Jones was never going to fight Tom Aspinall was right. Everyone that said that Jon Jones was ducking Tom Aspinall was right, and it just got confirmed while the heavyweight champion is healthy and just doesn't want to fight. And again, some people will say, well, he never beat Jon Jones for it, but that's not his fault. I mean, Tom Aspinall did everything he could to fight Jon Jones. So look at this however you want, but the point remains, Jon can still be one of, if not the greatest to have ever fought in MMA, but he ducked Tom Aspinall, and it's clear now. And there's no way to really excuse it. I mean, yeah, you can say Jon didn't feel like Tom was valued enough to fight him, but he still ducked Tom Aspinall. He still didn't want any part of the Tom Aspinall fight. And I even hesitated for a long time to say, oh, Jon's not scared, none of that. And Jon's probably not petrified, but he is understanding of one thing, that Tom Aspinall throws a wrench into the GOAT talks if he fights him, because Tom Aspinall presents more of a danger to Jon Jones than Stipe Miocic did. And that is the only reason Jon Jones retired, because Tom Aspinall was too dangerous to fight.
Did Jon Jones in some way ruin a legacy that could have been the greatest in combat sports of all time?
And here's my answer to that. The only reason,
one of the best of all time.
Here's my answer to that. The only reason it's in danger of being tarnished is because he didn't take this fight. Because we haven't been thinking about the past transgressions. We've been thinking about this fight. And the fact that he's not fighting this guy, and it's believed, like the great DC himself is saying, yo, he's walking away because he does not want to fight this guy. That's bad. Dana White came to me and told me, look, Aspinall wants that guy. I hadn't even heard of Aspinall. I watched him a couple of times.
If he's really retired as a fight fan, I'm sad. I'm glad I saw him fight at MFG.
Because I think he's the greatest. I think Jon Jones is the greatest.
Incredible watch. So if there's any chance he changes his mind, we'd all love to see him.
As you say, Molly, he's the greatest, but what are we talking about? Possibly, people are saying possibly is because he's ducking somebody. That's not good. That's not good.
And who's the number one contender now? You're now being chased, right? You were doing a little bit of chasing in terms of trying to get that unified, but who in your mind is the number one contender now for the heavyweight title belt?
Oh, I'm more than happy being chased. That's fantastic. I would rather be the hunted as opposed to the hunter, because I've been chased. I don't like chasing fights. I like just being the guy and everyone comes to me. That's fantastic. So I've actually fought a lot of the top 10. One of the guys I've not fought is Cyril Gane, a French guy. That's a fight that I was actually chasing that fight a few times before. He was ducking and diving around himself a little bit, so he is due a little bit of a beating off me. I look forward to that. Couple more guys down the rankings. A Brazilian guy, Jailton Almeida, I've not fought. There's a guy I've already beat called Alexander Volkov, who's doing really well for himself as well. So who knows? You never know in the heavyweight division. There's a couple of up-and-coming guys who I've not mentioned as well. So there's some good fights to be made over the next couple of years for sure.
If I were to say myself, it'd be great to see you fight Gane in London or in the UK somewhere as your next fight. Do you have any idea what you're doing next and when you'll be back in the octagon?
I do, but I also want to keep my job. So there's not much I can say on it, to be honest. But
will you find this year?
Yeah, I'm going to be fighting hopefully twice this year. That's my plan at least. I think I've wasted enough time.
Jon Jones couldn't knock the skin off a rice pudding. We have had stuff to do in the same building for like 4 or 5 days in a row, and I've not run into him yet, which is a bit weird. How many times can this be a coincidence? The honest answer is I don't know if it is a coincidence or not, but I'm not even bothered about fighting Jon. I think everyone gets it very confused, especially Jon. I just want the heavyweight title, that's all. I deserve it. We have coincidentally missed each other a lot of times. Actually, that one clip, I didn't even know he was there.
Good, man. Nice to meet you too.
I've not seen Jon, actually. We haven't directly crossed paths. We've just been in the same room a couple of times.
Joe wraps things up by saying he sees something truly special in Tom: the mindset, the humility, the skill, all the signs of a future superstar. But he also issues a warning to the UFC: no more half measures, no more politics. Give Tom the fights he deserves. He's earned every opportunity. Whether Jon Jones makes a comeback is no longer the main story. The spotlight has shifted to Tom Aspinall's rise and whether the UFC is ready to fully support their new champion as they build the next golden era of heavyweight MMA.